Hello, this is Skip, and this is From the Fourth Row's DVD Roundup. And this week we have some good ones, some scary ones, and some not so good ones. And the first one I want to say is the not so good ones, and that's Your Highness. Now, Your Highness has a good, cast, Danny McBride, James Franco, and Natalie Portman, and it's from the director of Pineapple Express. I kind of like historical movies, but most of the time when they do these kind of historical kind of movies back in the 1700s or wherever, they kind of, slapsticky ones aren't that good. And there's a lot of nasty jokes and groin jokes, and just where they could have really done some intelligent comedy in the guise of like Mel Brooks or something like that, but they chose to go in a different direction, and it didn't work for me. So I'm just gonna have to say, skip Your Highness. And my second DVD pick of the week is The Ward. Now, The Ward is the latest movie from Frightmeister John Carpenter, and John Carpenter has given us some of the great scary movies of all time, Halloween and The Thing. And I'll tell you right now, this is a scary movie, and it's well thought out. Where you have, back in March we had Sucker Punch about a girl in a, insane asylum. Well, this is about a girl in a insane asylum, and she's got to escape, and she's got people, and it is scary. And I think John Carpenter doesn't go the easy route. He makes the frights and the scares things that, normal things in a person's life. If you're stuck in an insane asylum, what are the things that noises and creaks and weird people and just normal things that you might be scared of, and of course they all add up, when you're trying to escape from this crazy ward, and I think it's a really good movie, and I highly recommend The Ward. Now, my third DVD pick of the week is a movie I really like a lot, and that's The Conspirator, and it's about the events in and around the death. It surrounds the death of Abraham Lincoln and the trial that preceded the death of Abraham Lincoln, and the people that were involved with that trial, and the people that were accused of killing Abraham Lincoln, and maybe a conspirator to kill Abraham Lincoln, and that is Robin Wright Penn, and she does a fantastic job. I mean, really just kind of low key, but really straightforward. And I think come Oscar time, I would hate to see her not get nominated for an supporting actress Oscar. I think she's really good. But a guy that is really good as well, and somebody I think is getting better and better as the years go, is James McAvoy. He does a great job as the lawyer who's defending Robin Wright Penn's character. And this is directed by Robert Redford, and it's the first movie by the American Film Institute, where they're making historical events into movies, events that we may not have ever heard of, but needed to be dramatized in the big screen. And I think Robert Redford does a really good job, gets an all-star cast. There's people like Colm Meaney, and Kevin Kline's kind of like a secretary to the president, or like a war secretary or something like that, and he is really bad in it. He's a mean guy, but I really like The Conspirator. I think as an educational tool, I think it'd be good when you're talking about the Civil War and whatnot. It's a really good movie, and it stands up historically. Now, my next pick is my number one comedy of the year, and I just absolutely love this movie, and it's so funny, and it's Paul. And Nick Frost and Simon Pegg team up for the third time after Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. But this time they have some really good supporting characters with them. Jason Bateman, Kristen Wiig, and, you know, my worst movie of the year star, Seth Rogen. This time around, he hits the notes right, you know, as a little green alien. You know, these guys, you know, they're going to Comic-Con and they decide, well, let's go visit all the alien sites, so, you know, the Midwest or whatever, you know, Roswell and Area 51, and once you know it, they crash and they end up finding a little green man, and he's voiced by Seth Rogen, and there's just so many great in-jokes about Star Wars, Star Trek, and, you know, science fiction and so forth. But it's a really good movie, and I highly, highly recommend Paul. But the movie I've been looking forward to letting everybody know about, and I think it's an amazing movie, and it got vastly overlooked. It may not have played in that many theaters, but I think everybody and their brother and sister and mothers, daughters, coaches, teachers, anybody who's anybody should see this movie. And it is an amazing movie about what goes on today with the social network and technology and the world out there. And it's called Trust. And Clive Owen and Catherine Keener are the parents of this young girl, and she tries out for the volleyball team and she makes it, but, you know, through social networks she befriends a man which she thinks is 15. Turns out he's 37, and his name is Charlie. Well, one thing leads to another, and they become close friends. And it is an amazing, gripping story about a family, and I think everybody should see this movie, and I highly, highly recommend you see Trust. And I think David Schwimmer has an amazing movie on his hands, and I can't wait to see what he does next, because this is a great subject matter, and I think he handles it perfectly. This is Skip, and this has been my DVD reviews from the fourth row.